Okay, send the link to Malia.
Okay. This Hangouts is now live.
Oh my
We are live, bitches.
God.
Okay, now I just have to send a link so that people know that it exists.
Okay, I will entertain them as
Everyone,
you do
this is
that.
Leslie. She's going to entertain you. How do I link to it? Crap!
Actually, let me see if it shows up on my diddly-do. And by diddly-do, I mean
Your feed.
my feed. Let's check youtube.com/blinkpopshift.
I love that the first part of any streaming video is just, is it working? Are you sure it's working? Can someone check if it's working?
Can someone check? Can someone check? Oh my God, I'm about to watch myself.
For some reason, it won't show up when I look at my own channel. It doesn't show up.
Okay, I found it. I got it. I've got it.
Tweetor, Tweetor.
I think I've got it. I may have just.
I think
Uh,
it automatically posted to my Twitter feed in Russian.
oh, good.
That's so helpful.
Oh, how necessary. Oh my God, I'm watching myself. And it's in like 20-second time or 20-second lag. Oh, that's
That's
amazing.
okay. We don't have any viewers. That's totally fine.
Jesus, I'm okay. All right, I'm not even gonna watch. Okay.
Excellent.
All right, let me. So,
So you wanted to argue about
yes, we have to wait till people are here.
arrow of polish. No, but I just wanted to know, like, what,
I don't think it was really arguing. I just had multiple questions
okay.
to your questions.
Okay. I'm
And then,
excited.
yeah, okay.
Questions of questions are always the best kind of questions.
Question. Actually, I took a bunch of notes. Oh, I don't have my notebook with me. Oh, well. Whoops.
You took a bunch of notes? Excellent.
I just have to find where my notebook is. It may not even be worth it. Oh, there we go. Oh no, I have to turn off my buzzing thing. Okay. How's your evening?
My evening is fantastic. I've been working and drinking chai, which Steve made for me from scratch from like spices and stuff. It's real fancy.
Well, look at you.
And
Just with your chai.
I've been making 3D models for my website, which is always fun.
Oh, God, don't remind me that I need to work on my website because I just took off or I got rid of the website that I was using or the thing I was using before, and I'm switching to a new uh, words, not a new domain, but a new
We have 2 viewers!
two viewers.
3! Holy crap! Hello, people!
Three. Oh God.
It would be awesome if I knew how to look at your comments, but I do not.
On
Unless you could train me how to do that, that would be amazing.
well, I'm just looking at the page, the actual watch page, and there is a chat on the right-hand side.
Excellent. Okay. And
Look
we're
at us. We are such professionals. I'm switching to a new oh my God, that is such a lag.
excellent. Okay, now that we have viewers, we can talk about the reason that we are here, which is that Leslie totally disagreed. Or so, I actually don't know. I shouldn't say disagreed. Leslie would like to talk about the arrow of polish that I talked about in my last video. She challenged me to a conversation, which I said we had to live stream for my protection.
Because, okay, there are some things that should be in video response form, I guess, if you want to develop a kind of essay-like response, or if you want to just write things out and, send it on the internet, call them open letters. That's
That's
a
a way to do it.
trend these days. That's a trend. But
But why
I
not
don't
argue?
know.
We're
I have
here.
I have so many questions um on your questions because they're so like it could take in so many directions. Oh, by the way, this was for you, and this is the only boob shot you're gonna get. But I'm wearing a polished T-shirt, which, if you weren't aware, is a vertical of big frame.
Oh,
So
interesting. I didn't know.
yeah, yeah, it's a vertical that's like and most of their clientele. Actually, I guess that's just a YouTube channel now that's like all beauty content. So I was like, "Are you just so sick of polished?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, they're not really my thing, but you know."
I
But
had never actually, I didn't know there was a channel called Polished. I wasn't trying to, like, get up on anybody's channel.
get up all in their grill.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so actually, for the people that haven't watched your video yet, um, you spoke about uh, the the term polish
Yeah.
in reference to YouTube content and how you're kind of sick of that aesthetic,
Yeah,
and
and
you
also
kind
just like the expectation, like we have this cultural expectation of an arrow of polish, right? Like people's work goes like this and it gets awesome, which I feel like is very numerically driven. And I'm not saying that that's bad. It just seems like a cultural trend,
sure.
and maybe it doesn't have to be.
Oh, of course. Okay, so before we even get started, what is your definition of polish?
That's a good question. I feel like um, a honed aesthetic, but a honed aesthetic that doesn't have a lot of room for like iteration in every episode. So especially since we're talking about YouTube, we're talking about like people make episodic content. So even if your videos are not connected because you're making a narrative or something, you're still making it episodic. And we get, I guess it gets locked into like a format, and that's what I feel like is polished. It's not necessarily like how much post production you put into it or how much writing or any of that. It's just how locked into a format do you get, and iteration, and how much iteration is inside the format. So more iteration in the format I feel like would be less polished. It would have less restriction.
Okay. All right.
Because the
Well,
format is the thing that gets repetitive, right? When you get sick of something, it's not because it's like, oh, that was pretty and nice. Like, that's fine. It's just if it gets repetitive after a while.
sure. And I think I had that kind of fatigue in my videos probably a couple of months ago because I was starting to witness a pattern in my speech.
Hmm.
Even though they're scripted, they're not supposed to look that way. But I
The
could.
secret.
Oh no! I haven't made videos in 3 months. Whoops. Um, actually, I've been making a lot. Whatever. The uh, but even so, I could watch something, or I could like write a script, and then I would say, "Oh, this is when I like da 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 da."
Maybe polish is not the right word for what we're talking about. We're talking about like formulaic.
Yeah,
When
formatted.
you yourself, even as the creator, know what to expect.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So that switches up my
What do you think it is?
um
You're the one who's like throwing down over here.
no. I think that fatigue also comes just with like an expectation of outside people, not necessarily the pressure for the numbers on the screen. Though we might not even consider it as, or we may consider it as pressure, but other people that have grown up with it and have just seen this kind of aesthetic and are just kind of applying it to their work as they're learning more about video making and being in front of a camera and everything. They may not consider it formulaic. They may just be like, oh, this is what beginners do.
Mm-hmm.
So when us as beginners, we would just turn on the webcam and just chat for a hot minute. That's not like a beginner thing anymore, I guess. So it's not now it's like this dilly do diddly fee badoo is like its own stance on itself, like its own little thing. It's like a conscious choice.
Yeah.
It's not just because it's what you have. Most of the time, I guess like 12-year-olds that are putting themselves out there, which I'm not sure if they should, in that way as of yet. They might be the exception to the rule. I don't know. Okay, so I'm looking at the. I'm going back to the chat and I'm seeing what are people saying.
So you reject the idea of YouTube content moving towards TV content, Oliver Christie. I guess I don't understand why it should. Like, if that's what we're gonna say is polish, like something that's more like television content, it just is sort of weird to me because it's not television. So it feels very like external. But then, the idea of television content is like, well, there's money in that. And then it's driven by, numbers and money, which is fine for that kind of content. But when that bleeds over into like the aesthetic of an entire platform, like on YouTube, it, I guess that feels forced. And I guess one of the things that I've been noticing is that a lot of the polish on shows that I used to like, or like used to watch a lot on YouTube, I'm sort of like, okay, it's shiny, cool, but I'm bored. So that angling towards TV, I feel like actually is doing a disservice to the platform. It gets more money, certainly, but it doesn't do an aesthetic service.
Sure. I think what they're trying to do now is to basically hone in and own that kind of thing, because obviously it wouldn't have been a thing. This wouldn't have started if people didn't experiment and say, oh, if I put something out once a week instead of every day, I get more views this way. If they didn't know that, they probably wouldn't be doing it. It's probably, as much as we like to think that it may just be some big executives trying this out, it's just a bunch of us. It's just a bunch of us doing that, and then people are finding the similarities between online and TV and seeing that the kind of stuff that was mastered, probably in the 80s is being useful and still relevant now. So I think what's going on is that people are doing this stuff, until there is, I guess, enough data that they can look back and make comparisons to whatever comparisons they want to make.
What kind of data do you mean?
Views, view count over.
Like, I know this isn't going to be a popular thing to say, but I've been like demolishing my view count lately, and it's been making me kind of happy.
Yeah, girl, but your shit is so good.
But not. It's less, my stuff now is way less viewed than it was when I had a format.
Sure, but you're happier now, right? You have
I'm making what I can make now, and what makes me happy now. I don't know if I'm happier than I was when I was making formats, but yeah.
Sure. But you also have another source of income that that allows you to not. So it allows you to.
Thing too. Like I was actually used to like trying to make a thing that I might be able to make an income off of, and now that I don't have to do that, I'm just like, all the things.
Right.
I don't limit it as much.
I think right when I made the big move a couple of years ago, I really was like, maybe I should make this more serious or whatever. So I started branding my vlogging channel as, storytelling, like comedic storytelling. Look at that, which is which is which makes me mad. I tweeted about this the other day, but like to people that don't know me, I host like a storytelling web series where like people tell real stories, but it just sounds like now I'm being like this corporate hack that's using all these buzzwords on in my Twitter bio that just sounds like I like oh, I'm a storyteller, I'm a thought leader. I I do I do.
Oh, good
Whoa.
thought leader.
Oh my God, if I hear the word thought leader, the words thought leader together in like a
It's just extra painful.
oh God, that's in love with new media. Well, of course you're in love. I mean, you're a consumer of your world anyway. Malia's watching us.
Hi, Malia.
Um, Hussein says, I want to point out something about the video that Emily made before, the one about imitating artists, until something from you came out.
Oh, yeah, so I made a video, I guess in December, that was saying, like, when you're starting a new thing, just imitate some people. Like, just, put your own spin on it, I guess, a little bit, but the spin doesn't even matter that much. That, just learn to make videos by copying someone else's videos. Learn to make sculptures by copying someone else's sculptures. Learn to write books by copying other people's books. And that's really useful when you're learning how to do a thing. But at least maybe in my case, I feel like if you copy for long enough and you get really good at it, at some point you discover like to separate from the copy, you have to make like a hard break, and then you have to be like, okay, new thing. And sometimes that is a lot harder than I would like it to be. Maybe not as hard. It's not harder than I would expect. But so there's this weird thing about like, okay, well, you're polishing a skill, but maybe that skill is based on a copy, and if it's not working for you anymore, like, do you feel, or do creators feel like they have the liberty to just break it? Especially, I feel like like I'm an artist primarily, and I make video as part of that, so I feel like I have a little more leeway in just being like, well, it's weird and broken because it's video art.
Mm-hmm.
But people who don't use artist as their like primary creative label probably don't feel that same liberty.
I think I felt those growing pains a few years ago with my content. I think it was like right before I started really honing in on using the storytelling aspect thing, and I just kept like throwing stuff out there. Oh my God, I think there was I asked someone to film something that was like an inside joke between like a Google Hangout session where he just said like iterations of the word no over and over again. And so I made it sound like he was saying no to like something I had said, right? But the clip that he had sent me was 90 seconds long. And so I just kind of put the whole 90 seconds in at the end, and nobody liked it. It was like, what's wrong with you? It's the funniest thing I've ever made. It's the funniest thing that is on the internet right now. You are all dumbasses. So it's kind of just, just the idea of making something for you. And I think everybody just always comes back to that, I guess. Okay.
I think part of the reason I've been thinking about this is because when we were at VidCon this year, one of the big buzzwords was authenticity. Like, literally everything was be yourself, be authentic, make authentic content, authentic this, authentic that, and I was like, wait, what?
It's like,
I don't know what that means.
I love the phrase, make what you want to make. Make what you want to make, but also follow rules 1 through 343, So I just feel so bad for everyone that does this for a living. Oh, I feel bad. Sorry. Your life sucks. Whoop whoop.
I've
Um,
actually been kind of surprised lately, because I've been doing all this VR work and making VR video and making all of the like VR websites and stuff like that. And I was actually kind of surprised that like a lot of my audience was like, okay, cool, like we're into VR, but then a lot of people were like, well, that's not YouTube videos. Why don't you make YouTube videos? Like I got a lot of asks on Tumblr, especially being like, not so into this other thing that you're doing.
ah,
Um, which is kind of strange to me because like I make a lot of different stuff. I make animated GIFs and virtual sculpture and all these different things, but somehow the YouTube platform is like very sticky. People wanting to stay there and make things there, and I feel like are less willing to follow you across the internet, the chariot of the internet, to other kinds of work. I don't know if you've experienced that.
I probably have experienced it in a different way, and before I move on to like an example for me, I think that's because YouTube is becoming less of a subscription-based thing, and
Hmm.
maybe more of view-based. So people don't like to be people don't like to miss out on stuff. So they know if they're not going to they're not going to miss out if they're going to find you on YouTube every Tuesday at 3 p.m.
Right.
It's just
There's
it's
the
thing
comfort in regularity, which is great.
right. So I just think it just feeds into the idea of people don't like to be surprised, and I'm seeing that a lot more out of a
People
lot.
don't like to be surprised. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
right.
Okay, so Brian Priss says, I think that in most cases, polish and formula is just a side effect of creators wanting to improve themselves and their creations. Um, and while I agree with this idea sort of on the first level, my argument would be with the word improve. Um, so improve, like that's why I was saying polish before seems like repetitive format, but improve doesn't have to just be make it prettier, make the audio quality better, have better lighting, have a better camera, have like there are lots of different ways to improve. And when I'm saying the arrow of polish, I just mean that the polish arrow has seemed to have taken over as the only socially legitimate way to improve your work on YouTube as a platform. I guess that's what I mean, Brian, by polish. I agree with you. It's just that I think that improve as like a big concept has been shrunk socially down to a very small concept. I don't know what you think, Leslie.
I think I think what your wording and use of improve is really hard to okay, words in my head spinning around, and they're gonna get there. um, there's two ways to think of improve, like like Wheezy Waiter Craig Benzine. He's been making a lot of different types of content that's different for him, but a lot of things that he's making I also have seen in his work previously, but he has said um, outwardly in other forms that he's improving himself greatly.
Hmm.
So what could be to an audience perspective of just being stagnant, they might be improving themselves in other ways,
Right.
like changing editing platforms or changing how they write things. Like I
Hmm.
think I probably went through a stagnant phase when I was just outlining things, or when I was transitioning from outlining things to writing full-on scripts
Hmm.
and uh, memorizing scripts. But what I was really was just kind of pounding in this notion and then trying to hone in and get better at that one thing.
Right.
When it could, and that's just all your own comfortability, when the audience could have thought that my first video that I did that was just as good as like the last video.
Right. So there's a difference. You're saying like from an audience's point of view, improvement can, you not necessarily see what the actual creator considers what they're doing to better their content.
Right. Like,
But I
okay.
think, to me, like one of the things I'm trying to do to improve my content at the moment is just to get faster. So, like before I was making this very, very like pre-work intensive
Mm-hmm.
format where I had to like research everything and write everything and put a lot of work into it beforehand. But I just don't have time, and I don't want to not make videos, so I have to choose a different, I have to choose fast as my improvement mechanism. But then other people, like the audience, for example, may not see that as a form of improvement.
Sure. Sure. And do you see yourself trying to find your own, not formalities, not formats, not polish, maybe polish, in this new, uh, in this new kind of improvement? Okay, before you even answer that question, for example, your latest video, which was just a one take, right? It was a
Yeah,
one take dealio. You
unedited,
asked,
yeah.
yeah, you asked questions, but the way that you ended it with like a dismissive, oh, that was crap, blah, 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 and then a hard cut. I see that a lot in like old school vloggers.
Hmm.
It's a kind of dismissive, kind of upbeat, cheery thing at the end. So when you were asking about polished, I thought that was like a really polished thing to do.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I
I
guess
guess
that's true. It just sort of happened because I've been learning Spanish on Duolingo, and I was literally trying to say like a sentence in Spanish, and it was just like it just didn't work at all. And instead of cutting it, I was just like, well, that was crappy. Goodbye. But yeah,
okay.
I can. That's another thing, right? Like I didn't know that a lot of vloggers did that, but you see that as like a polished detail because it's a similar like genre detail to other people's videos.
Sure, sure. Like, I guess I maybe people just I assume people do it on purpose because I
Hmm.
see it happen so much because it's kind of like a humanizing, relatable. Oh, that was crap. And then like, because you could have easily just like gone to the YouTube editor, cut off that little bit, and
Yeah.
then it made it essentially a more polished thing. But the idea of looking like you just whipped up something, said like picked up your phone, said some shit, put it on the thing, is in itself a polished format.
Yeah, I think that there's maybe we're talking about two different things. Maybe we're talking about technological polish,
Hmm.
like lights and cameras and sound and not shooting on your phone and doing all these things. And then there's like performative polish where you can just pick up a camera, shoot yourself and just talk. And the ability to be like I don't know, entertaining and extemporaneous and sort of follow the thread of your thought and all those things. Like that's all performance quality. So maybe I mean, yeah, maybe there is performance quality in just like do thing, put on internet immediately.
Sure. Okay. I'm going to the comments now
Because I
because
feel like you have really good performance quality.
thank
Uh,
you.
Especially you might hate this, but especially where you
Okay.
use your hair in your videos.
When I move
I
my
wish
hair,
you could choreograph that.
oh, when I do this,
Yeah, it's always like you always like and like you do it and I always feel like you're like adding emphasis to a statement. You're always like, and then I said a thing, and then I do my hair. It's so cool. I love the way you do it.
I have to say, half of the time it might be a stage direction.
You know,
Like,
50%
okay,
of the time's good.
no holds barred. Half the time, I see myself. Okay, because sometimes I don't like editing myself because I've got this thing and then I've got like this thing. I'm just not a fan of it. So whenever I did this, there was one time when I got this hair and when I moved to Baltimore and didn't have any humidity in my life anymore, my hair started looking amazing in videos. And then I realized one time I did this when I was really dramatic about a thing, and I was editing, I was like, oh shit, my hair looks great there, and I just, just like adding that into my stuff, and then sometimes it's now like an actual, not a tick, but it's kind of an anxiety thing. So whenever I'm ranting, I'm just like, well, look at the hot parts of me right now. I'm gonna tell you like it is. I'm gonna say it in a very attractive way because look at my hair.
Oh, articulation says, interesting. I often say, oh, that was crappy when I film because I mess up all the time. So if I didn't edit it, there would be a lot of, oh, that was crap in the final video. So it seems like a lot of people say that, and then it's just the bravery of leaving it in.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not bravery. Maybe it's just like the humanizing factor of leaving it in and admitting, like, you tried really hard at a thing, but like everyone sort of feels that embarrassment. And I guess, I don't know. Yeah, I guess a lot of people do that.
I might just be yes. Uh, what's the word? Not. I just might be jaded about it because
Oh, you're jaded?
are just jaded with that thing because probably because I spent years perfecting in my own way, trying to not be trying to be this kind of like I don't give a shit storyteller character thing that has like off the cuff whatever. Oh, this was crappy. Like that tries to be humanizing and it tries to be relatable as possible. But it's completely put on. It's not complete. It's not completely contrived because it's derived on true story. But but
But
it's
it's
a
an affect, like
thing.
part of it is an affectation. Like you're saying, like part of the hair is a stage direction, part of it is performance, part of it is,
Right.
yeah, you.
Right. I mean, like also when you're filming. Oh, that's cute.
Isn't it adorable?
Look at you. And I just have my polished T-shirt. I didn't even have like here. The sad thing. Wonderly, the vertical I was on, the big frame vertical I was on. They didn't have T-shirts that fit plus size people, so I'm wearing the other one that's in my size.
Slackers.
Yeah, just saying, need to have less than like a woman's large, which is like a men's small sometimes. Um, Anywho, going back to the comments, I saw a bunch come up, and I was like, oh, I'm still reading. I guess I'm not supposed to be doing that.
What, reading the comments? Why not?
Or reading the comments while, because I'm supposed to be engaging while, like, I just,
It's just be, yeah, like, endlessly entertaining and engaging.
Again, these schedules, but please do one. Don't you love me? Just do it. It's great. Okay, so, um, have you actively sought content that's not polished, or your
Oh,
definition of polished?
yeah, I tried, especially I feel like in the last 2 months, I was just like, wow, I'm bored with all of these things and I don't click on them anymore. And yeah, I'm gonna like look for other stuff. And I haven't, I've especially in podcasts, I've been like digging for like new interesting little podcasts or just like one person talking into a microphone. Um, and yeah, I really liked it. I really liked I like the weird.
Mm-hmm.
I like weird stuff, and it's fun to have. Um, I guess because I have this theory that like you make what you eat, right? Like so you make if you eat all modernism, you're probably gonna make modernism. So it's interesting to like, okay, if I'm gonna make less polished content, I need to go out and eat a bunch of less polished content. And also like I feel like I've been more active like trying to find other GIF artists and like people doing that kind of work to like have them influence the video stuff. But not
Sure.
as much on YouTube.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
like the expert at finding new people though.
Oh yeah. But it's but it's more like it's not because it's weird now because I'm doing this for, I'm having to actively search for people on a daily basis for a big project, and not just because like I think it's fun. So it's now becoming more of a
Yeah.
job kind of thing, and not in a way that I like say that it's that I hate it, because I'm absolutely still in love with one-time stories. But there's now times where I have to be like, okay, I have on my calendar to-do list, look up ASMR artists and like find people, and then look up, just look up crafty YouTubers, look up old school bloggers, look up old, like on different days. And so I have to like dive myself into different rabbit holes, but not for the sake of my own pleasure, but for the sake of trying to find someone random that
That's like
would,
a certain
yeah,
stereotype. And maybe stereotype's not
yeah,
the right word, but
or like, well, I guess when I'm fleshing out an episode and I don't think I don't have the right person on my list, and still having to go through and search for people, I have to find someone that is not similar to the other storytellers, but B, would complement them with their personality. So it's a really hard thing to do. I think I just got a thing. Hold on. Oh, I thought
Malia,
I had.
I think Malia's gonna try and make a video while we're recording it. We'll
What?
put, Malia says that we're making her want to make a video like right now, and then she said ready set go. So I believe in her. Everyone, Malia's gonna make a video before this hangout is done. It's so amazing. I can't believe she would challenge herself to such an awesome thing.
Oh my God, that's amazing. What about the polishedness of most videos or podcasts is turning you off right now? Or did I miss that part? Oh.
Yeah,
I don't
I would say that we talked about it a little bit, but yeah, like repetitive. Yeah, it gets like shinier than is interesting. I think there's like been some educational videos lately that I felt like I was just like, yeah, it looks like every other one anyone ever made. So just like sort of a lack of innovation maybe,
know.
and then people getting like sort of sunk into a format and not it doesn't feel airy anymore and full
Okay.
of potentials.
Sure. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. What are we like? How are we gonna save the world? That's like that was literally what I just asked myself.
How are we gonna save the world? Wait a minute, wait a minute. I never signed up for that shit.
Um. Oh God. Yeah. I feel that. I think like a lot of my way to combat that is to actually I haven't really found a way to combat that as of recent. Because sometimes looking at my sub box is just like, what are you talking about? Oh, you told me in the first 3 lines of your description. Okay, I guess I guess I know. I guess I know. But I think it's important for you to always have like have 5 people that you watch that um it always feels refreshing to you. And I think what I'm inspired by that always stays refreshing for me is mixture of video quality in videos. I guess
You mean like something was shot on a camera and then they also had something shot on the phone? It's like slightly smaller and set inside the sequence, or what do you mean?
something like that. Like Zach Little, Angry Films Production, has a monthly vlog,
Mm-hmm.
and it was more combative a few months ago when he had his old phone, that when he filmed on it, it would be in 4:3. But then he also has this amazing DSLR, or he has this DSLR that that he's really great with and can find really great shots with, like, around his town. In I think he lives in New Hampshire or something. And
That's interesting. Like
and he's
using different cameras for what they're really good for. Like using a phone camera for just fast informational, you want to see my face while I'm saying it stuff, and then using the DSLR for something that's like a beautiful shot that you're not going to get with the phone, and like mixing the two of those together, you feel like is what is refreshing to you right now, not one or the other.
Right. Because I know for me, I still want to be comfortable in front of a camera, and I want to learn to be more one-off. I don't want to have to rely on writing a thing just to be, I guess, relevant and be good. Because I'm actually
things to say.
Right, and a lot of the scripts that I'm using right now, I'm working on to help develop my storytelling presence on stage, which is another thing going on. But
okay, I want to hear about this because
okay.
I have an urge. I have a stage urge, people. And do you have a stage urge?
Well, yes and no. We need to talk offline, but I think a way for me to grow one time and to be better as a curator of content online is to be able to get more into the storytelling world that's in the stage world. And lucky for me, Washington, D.C. has a pretty active storytelling scene. So my goals have been to go to 2 storytelling events a month and maybe perform 3 times this year. What? Maybe.
Awesome.
Maybe. I like. I submitted my first story to maybe tell in front of a stage. I've only.
So it would be like you on stage with a mic telling a story.
Right. In a very like the moth format, like getting up on stage telling with other storytellers that are telling stories that are all based on their own interpretation of a theme, kind of like what One Time is based off of.
Yeah.
But they get to be more luxurious in their timing, which I'm still working on trying to figure out how attention spans and 20-minute long stories can work in the way that I want them to work. And the idea of you as a regular person being like put up on a pedestal and telling like your normal story that probably has high stakes because you experienced them, but it's probably something that could be relatable to other audience members in some form, versus like that idea versus something like online video being a medium where everyone is put on the same playing field.
Right.
Like, I guess.
So you feel like, yeah, it is true. Like, stage has an elevating quality.
Right. I want to remove the celebrity of all of it. Like, if One Time Stories ever got famous, I have to say One Time Stories now because Justin Bieber has a song named One Time, and SEO, whatever. If One Time Stories ever got big, like, can you imagine, like, an episode, like, if Tom Hanks told a story, and who's a good TV person right now? If Tom Hanks told a story and Gina Rodriguez,
who's a lumberjack?
Yeah, Nick Offerman.
Yeah,
Nick Offerman, Gina Rodriguez, and like some person that puts videos up and has 100 subscribers on YouTube. Where like all of their stories are equally important and are equally as validated as everyone else's.
That's your goal?
I don't know.
That was a noise.
I mean, it was one of those shower thoughts. It's like, oh shit, because I guess that's like what makes, I guess, like thinking about the idea, what makes a storytelling thing on the internet, how does that differ from a storytelling thing live? And that was the question I was asking myself.
Yeah, on the stage it elevates everyone. Like anyone who it is elevated to this position, but it's only temporary. Um,
Right,
but
and
I
it's
also think that part of the thing that you get out of live performance that we never get online is the immediacy of laughter, like, or applause. Like, yes, comments and likes exist, but that is not the same as the emotional energy of a crowd in
or
rock.
lack thereof. I think, or lack thereof. I think like,
Sure, like they can hate it too, but at least you're in the room with them when you're hating it, and you're like, oh, okay, I
oh
get it.
sure, but if you make a video, it has like no comments on it. You can blame everything from like the algorithm to the internet. You can blame other factors.
Yeah.
But being on stage and telling a story in front of hundreds of people, if if nobody's laughing or if nobody's feeling engaged, you automatically feel that, and you're like, oh, that's no good.
Yeah, but I think that that's why I want to do it. Like
Mm.
that's why I have stage urge is to take away the excuse or the ability to excuse my performance for any reason. Because I'm not well known enough, because the algorithm didn't like me, because something. Like I don't want to have those excuses. Like I want the burden to be on me, and I want to have feedback. Like I want it to hurt when I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Malia and I have had this conversation so many times. I'm totally gonna out her right now, but like she's like she is interested in doing stand up and
Uh-huh.
is, like
Of
scared of.
course she is.
I keep trying to get her to do it, but it's like but it's scary. But to me, the idea that it's scary actually makes me want to do it more, because then you're like, oh, I'm actually getting more accurate feedback.
Oh,
Um,
sure,
and I
sure.
can't do what I usually do, which is like, well, maybe I just put it up at the wrong time and nobody saw it.
I've totally said that to
Supposed to,
myself
no one gives a shit.
about so many things. About so many videos I've made in the last 7 damn years here. Um,
I have it. Do you I want to ask you a question about the numbers, because I did mention that a little bit in that video.
okay.
Which is, how are you affected by numbers, and have you ever decided to change the way that you saw the numbers?
Oh man.
Like, do you want to turn them off? Like, do you think you would ever just turn off the numbers on your channel?
I would not, because I hold on a second. Give me a second. Do you need to come to bed? Never mind. Okay. I'm trying to see if I need to change rooms so my boyfriend can go to bed. But I can't tell. Anyway, no, I can't, because full disclosure, my job is a video editor and producer for a production company.
Right.
And how I got into doing those things was through vlogging very first off.
Me
So
too.
having view count and subscriber count on my resume was a thing.
Right.
I mean, as time goes on, it's going to be less impressive. But but being
So that's
able to
interesting.
say,
Like, I
yeah,
keep thinking about this as like YouTube as a resume builder is really interesting. Cause like not YouTube as like I'm gonna make my money actually making YouTube videos, but just like
mhm,
as a platform to be like, I make things, here, look at the things that I make. And that like launching you into other things, I think is more interesting than getting lots and lots of subscribers. And that's an example of what I feel like we could turn the culture toward. We could turn
sure,
the culture away from subscribers, which isn't working anyway, and toward like this feeling of like self-launch platform into other things, not just professional YouTuberism.
And I've seen that a lot already with like the idea. I've seen some YouTubers become, social media managers, social media coordinators for brands, like that. I mean, it's soul sucking, but I mean, I've done it. It's a thing that I have to do for my job, and it's a skill that you derived from YouTube. I tried to make. So I'm totally on the crusade that people should close caption their content. I'm totally on that, whatever. And like one of the things I made, one of the, like the I think is a plus side to closed captioning is learning how to transcribe. Learning how to transcribe quickly and efficiently. And we have so many video journalists, videographers, we have so many writers and tech writers that are in this whole field. With like the booktubing world, like why are you not closed captioning so you can hone in on this skill so that you can put on your fucking resume right out of college and then get a tech writing position much quicker than other people that are having to do that through internships and get better. Like, you're teaching yourselves, people. I just spit on the desk. Good stuff. I hope you guys heard my spit.
Gross. Oh my god. Okay.
Give me just... You're going to end? Is that what you just said? Okay.
We have a very successful hangout. I think we should do this again. I think people should ask questions that I can argue with Leslie about, or if other people want to argue, I can argue with them too. But I'm glad that my video made you mad enough to be like, we have to talk about things!
I'm sure there were like so many things that after I'm done here, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I didn't ask about this and this and this and this and this, but we're friends, so.
It's cool.
I'll ask you somewhere.
Night.
Good night. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. How do I?
I don't know.